Moving to file item 58, Senator Liu. Are you prepared to take up this item? Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 64 by Senator Liu, an act relating to transportation planning.
Senator Liu.
Thank you, Mr. President. SB 64 requires the California Transportation Commission to review updates to the California Transportation Plan and prepare specific recommendations to improve the statewide integrated transportation system. This bill is a follow-up to SB 391, which I authored in 2009. SB 391 requires updates of the CTP to address how the state will meet its transportation and infrastructure and mobility needs while also meeting greenhouse gas reduction targets. Pressures on the statewide transportation system will increase with population, housing, and business growth. At the same time, the state must find ways to reduce greenhouse gases and keep people and goods moving. SB 64 requires the CTC to make more focused, specific recommendations to the legislature and the governor every time the plan is updated. Their specific list will help legislators author bills that make policy changes to achieve statewide plan goals, and I ask for your support on the bill.
Members, debate or discussion on this item? Debate or discussion? Seeing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. I. Anderson. Bates. I. Bell. I. Berryhill. I. Block. I. Canella. I. De Leon. I. Fuller. Gaines. I. Galgioni. I. Hall. I. Hancock. I. Hernandez. I. Hertzberg. I. Hill. I. Wesso. I. Huff. Jackson. I. Lada. I. Leno. I. Leva. I. Liu. I. McGuire. I. Mendoza. I. Mitchell. I. Monning. I. Morlock. I. Morrell. Wynn. I. Nilsson. I. Pan. I. Pavley. I. Roth. I. Runner. I. Stone. I. Vidak. I. Wachowski. I. Wolk. Wolk, aye. Anderson, no.
Will you call the absent members, please?
Fuller. Huff. Morrell. No.
Ayes 35, noes 2. The measure passes. Senator Lara, for what purpose do you rise?
Madam President, if I can bring up file item 56.
Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 716 by Senator Lara, an act relating to animal cruelty.
Senator Lara.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, SB 716 simply codifies industry standards for elephant management by prohibiting the use of bullhooks, bats, and pitchforks to discipline an elephant. A bullhook is typically embedded into the most sensitive areas of an elephant, which involves areas around the ears, mouth, and the back of the legs. The use of this instrument also puts handlers at severe risk should an elephant decide to rebel against the trainer. Since 1990, there have been at least 16 human deaths and 135 injuries in the U.S. have been attributed to elephants, primarily in circus-related incidents. With the California Association of Zoos, the aquariums in full support, which includes members of the Fresno, Oakland, LA, San Diego zoos, it's time that the state prohibit this inhumane practice. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Senator Stone.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't think there's anybody here that would like to see a baseball bat, an axe, a pitchfork, or any other type of weapon to be used to steer or torture or train an elephant. Unfortunately, they do use what's called a bull hook. It shouldn't be called a bull hook. It should be called a bull guide, because it's a topical application that tells the elephant whether to go to the right or whether to go to the left. Many of you have seen the Spiriva commercials with the elephant that is on the television commercial. That comes from Riverside County, a wonderful group of people, Have Trunk Will Travel, that take a lot of the proceeds that they receive by exhibiting their elephants in the habitat that they've created for it to stop the poaching of elephants worldwide. So I know it seems very popular to be able to say no axes, no pitchforks. I think we all agree with that. But by taking away the bullhook, which has been a historical tool used not to torture, but to train and guide elephants, would be much more appropriate. So if the author is willing to eliminate exempt bullhooks, I would be very happy to support this legislation as one that does not want to see our population of elephants decline, but also retaining the tools that elephant trainers use that want to see the species continue to thrive in a very hostile world. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion or debate? Seeing none, Senator Lara, would you like to close?
I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. I. Anderson. Bates. Bell. I. Berryhill. I. Block. I. Canella. I. De Leon. I. Fuller. Gaines. Galgiani. I. Hall. I. Hancock. I. Hernandez. I. Hertzberg. I. Hill. I. Weso. I. Huff. Jackson. I. Lada. I. Leno. I. Leva. I. Liu. I. McGuire. I. Mendoza. I. Mitchell. Monning. I. Morlock. No. Morrell. Wynn. I. Nilsson. No. Pan. I. Pavley. I. Roth. I. Runner. No. Stone. No. Vidak. No. Wykowski. I. Wolk. Wolkeye. Anderson.
Call the
No.
absent members.
Bates. I. Fuller. Gaines. Huff. No. Mitchell. I. Morrell.
Ayes 29, no 7. The measure passes. Moving now to file item 59, members. Senator Mendoza. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 270 by Senator Mendoza, an act relating to court reporters.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I'm here to present SB 270, which defines a manner in which California Court Reporters Board can issue fines or injunctions for acts in violation of the Court Reporter Board professional and ethical rules for certified shorthand reporters. This will strengthen the authority of the Court Reporters Board to regulate or prevent unlicensed individuals and corporations from unlawfully rendering court reporting services in California. This bill has received bipartisan support in the Fiscal and Policy Committees. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Members, a better discussion on this item. Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. I. Anderson. No. Bates. Bell. I. Berryhill. I. Block. I. Canella. I. De Leon. I. Fuller. Gaines. No. Galgiani. I. Hall. I. Hancock. I. Hernandez. I. Hertzberg. I. Hill. I. Weso. I. Huff. I. Jackson. I. Lada. I. Leno. I. Leva. I. Liu. I. McGuire. I. Mendoza. I. Mitchell. I. Monning. I. Morlock. No. Morrell. No. Wynn. I. Nilsson. No. Pan. I. Pavley. I. Roth. I. Runner. No. Stone. No. Vidak. No. Wykowski. I. Wolk. Wolkeye.
Call the absent members.
Bates. No. Fuller.
Ayes 29, noes 9. The measure passes. File item 60, Senator Jackson. Pass on file. File item 61, pass on file. File item 62, Senator Hernandez. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 622 by Senator Hernandez, enacting to optometry and making appropriation therefore.
Senator Hernandez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, the Affordable Care Act has placed about 3 million additional Californians onto our healthcare system and recently ensured an increased demand for services on an already strained system. In California, we have a robust network of providers that are willing, trained, evenly distributed throughout the state, regulated by the Department of Consumer Affairs, and well-positioned to pay particular attention to the currently underserved areas. Doctors of optometry are such provider groups who receive a doctorate-level training, preparing them to be primary care providers and independently diagnose and treat conditions of the eye. This bill removes restrictions in the current law so that they can examine, prevent, diagnose, and treat conditions and disorders of the visual system and eye to the full extent of their training. It would include 2 additional advanced certificates for optometrists, allowing them to perform minor procedures and therapeutic laser procedures after receiving 50 hours of postdoctoral education, performing numerous procedures on humans to demonstrate competency, and allowing optometrists to initiate and administer vaccines for influenza, herpes zoster, and pneumococcus after meeting the exact same requirements placed by pharmacists by SB 493 2 years ago. This bill was carefully negotiated, and I want to thank Senator Hill and the Business and Profession Committee, and has received unanimous bipartisan support to this day. And with that, I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Members, debate or discussion on this item? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing, Senator Stone.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of SB 622. We are witnessing probably the largest transformation of the healthcare delivery system in the nation, as we see scope of practice issues expanded for nurses, for pharmacists, for naturopaths. Optometrists are very highly trained professionals getting a Doctor of Optometry degree. They are highly educated and underutilized based on the many hours of study that they focus on nothing but eyes. We've seen more people in the United States become immunized by making it convenient for them to go into pharmacies where pharmacists now can prescribe immunizations and administer immunizations. We as pharmacists don't see this as a threat to our scope of practice. We welcome optometrists helping us fulfill the mission of ensuring that we reach that 95% immunization rate. The optometrists that wish to expand on these professional roles have to do postgraduate certifications. So they're not going to be coming out of school without doing basically a mini residency on an area of specialty, whether it is to treat glaucoma, which is a very silent disease. Many people don't even know they have it. Many find out they have it because they go in for a routine examination because they can't see near or close. So they go to an optometrist that does the test. They can diagnose glaucoma, and this gives them the tools to help treat glaucoma, as well as some minor surgical procedures and the utilization of modern technology, which includes lasers. With our shortage of primary care physicians, this will allow better accessibility to patients throughout the state of California to receive professional eye care from professional optometrists. I urge an aye vote.
Thank you. Senator Berryhill.
Yeah, Mr. President and members, I rise in support of this bill. I voted for it in B&P. Having said that, I noticed that the Medical Association is still opposed. We've had these conversations. Scope of practice is going to happen with the new health care that we have. That being said, as much work as the author has done, he's done plenty. I think this bill still has a bit of work to go. And so I'm going to give an aye vote today with certainly holding this will come back for concurrence after the Assembly, will it not? And we'll reserve our vote for then, but I'm going to vote for it today. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, additional debate or discussion on this item? Senator Hernandez, would you like to close?
Just respectfully ask for an aye vote. Thank you.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Aye. Anderson. Bates. Bell. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Block. Aye. Canella. Aye. De Leon. Aye. Fuller. Gaines. Aye. Galgioni. Aye. Hall. Aye. Hancock. I, Hernandez. I, Hertzberg. I, Hill. I, Wesso. I, Huff. I, Jackson. I, Lara. I, Leno. I, Leva. I, Liu. I, McGuire. I, Mendoza. I, Mitchell. I, Monning. I, Morlock. I, Morrell. Wynn. Nielsen. Pan. No. Pavley. I, Roth. I, Runner. Stone. I, Vidak. I, Wykowski. I, Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Call the absent members.
Anderson. No. Bates. Fuller. Morrell. I, Wynn. No. Nielsen. Runner. No. Nielsen, aye.
Ayes 33, noes 4. The measure passes. Members, we're going to move to governor's appointments. That's item 3 and 4. This is governor's appointments, members. The first item is number 3. Senator De Leon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, Brian G. Anderson and Michael A. Mendez are members of the State Mining and Geology Board. They're up for confirmation. They were heard on May 6th, and they were voted on a bipartisan manner, 5-0. Mr. Anderson is the Vice President of Property Permitting and Environmental at Vulcan Materials and is a registered geologist. Mr. Mendez is a researcher for the Center of Global Healthy Cities at the University of California at Berkeley. Both individuals are well equipped to take on the task. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Members, debate or discussion on this item? Debate or discussion? Seeing here none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. I, Anderson. No. Bates. I, Bell. I, Berryhill. I, Block. I, Canella. I, De Leon. I, Fuller. Gaines. I, Galgiani. I, Hall. I, Hancock. I, Hernandez. I, Hertzberg. I, Hill. I, Weso. I, Huff. I, Jackson. I, Lara. I, Leno. I, Leva. I, Liu. I, McGuire. I, Mendoza. I, Mitchell. I, Monning. I, Morlock. I, Morrell. I, Wynn. I, Nielsen. I, Pan. I, Pavley. I, Roth. I, Runner. I, Stone. I, Vidak. I, Wykowski. I, Wolk.
Call the absent members.
Wolk, aye. Anderson, no to aye. Fuller.
Ayes 38, no 0. The appointments are confirmed in. Members, for item number 4, Senator De Leon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, file item number 4, Gideon Krakoff, State Mining and Geology Board. We split this one between file item 3 as well as 4. Respectfully ask for an aye vote. Mr. Krakoff passed May 6th on a 3-0 vote.
Members, debate or discussion on this item? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. I, Anderson. No. Bates. No. Bell. I, Berryhill. Block. I, Canella. De Leon. I, Fuller. Gaines. Galgiani. I, Hall. I, Hancock. I, Hernandez. I, Hertzberg. Hill. I, Weso. I, Huff. No. Jackson. I, Lara. I, Leno. I, Leva. I, Liu. I, McGuire. I, Mendoza. I, Mitchell. I, Monning. I, Morlock. I, Morrell. No. Wynn. No. Nielsen. No. Pan. I, Pavley. I, Roth. I, Runner. No. Stone. No. Vidak. No. Wykowski. I, Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Call the absent members.
Berryhill. Canella, Fuller, Gaines, no, Hertzberg.
Ayes 25, noes 10. The appointment is confirmed in. Members, we are going to move to the consent calendar. We're moving to the consent calendar. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 159, 363, 386, 711, 383, 419, 141, 351, 474,
Consent calendar will
494.
be deemed read. Is there objection to utilizing our unanimous roll call on the consent calendar, members? Seeing, hearing none, ayes 38, no 0. The consent calendar is approved. Members, returning to motions and resolutions. Senator Huff.
Mr. President, adjourn in memory.
Objection.
President and members, I rise today to adjourn in memory of one of our own, Senator Dick Mountjoy, who passed away Monday night, May 18th. He was 83 years old. Dick Mountjoy was an iconic figure, a man who remained true to himself and was well known for his conservative views, tenacious spirit politically, and his big heart personally. Regardless of political views, those who had the privilege to serve here with Senator Mountjoy will say that he earned everyone's respect. Mountjoy was a one-time mayor of Monrovia and a construction company owner, and was first elected to the Assembly in 1978, riding the wave of popularity into the Capitol with other Prop 13 babies. In 1994, Dick Mountjoy was elected to the state Senate in a special election and served here until 2000. He was a public servant, sometimes controversial, for a total of 22 years, 16 years spent with Willie Brown. He asked his younger son to take his place in the legislature when he left, and that year, Dennis Mountjoy was elected to the Assembly, where he served for 3 terms with many of us in this room. Dick Mountjoy was the real deal. He saw himself as a servant of God first, and then a servant of the people. He held himself deeply accountable for every bill he introduced and voted for. He valued this institution and the people who served in it. Dick Mountjoy took his job seriously, but he did not take himself too seriously. He and a dozen or so other conservatives were nicknamed the Cavemen by a writer of the Sacramento Bee for never, ever voting for the budget year after year. On the wall of his office, he kept a cherished copy of the infamous cartoon that depicted himself and his cavemen colleagues sitting around a campfire in hairy loincloths with spiked clubs in hand. He was not easily daunted and could not be cajoled. He was not afraid to stand his ground, and nothing could stop the work he deemed necessary in his district. This is probably best illustrated by a story that his son Dennis loves to tell about the time his dad stole Speaker Brown's car from the Capitol garage. During a budget impasse, Dick asked the Speaker to let him leave town to get to an event in his district, and the Speaker told him that he instructed the sergeants not to permit any members to leave until a vote on the budget was reached. Now, those are in the days of a 2/3 vote, so we did need some Republicans there, although Dick Mountjoy never voted for a budget. How are you going to leave when you can't get to the airport? Willie chided him. Not to be outwitted, Dick knew there was one car the sergeants would not stop leaving the garage, so he climbed in Willie Brown's station wagon, drove it straight out of the garage unchecked, drove to the airport, and left it there in front of the airport terminal. He was kind enough to call the Speaker's office and told him if the Speaker wanted his car, he could find it parked in the red zone at the airport, and continued, but he better get it quickly before it gets towed. I'll be in my district. Tell him to call me when he has enough votes for his budget. Dick Mountjoy loved his family. The love of his life, Earlene, preceded him in death in 2009. His family says he never really got over his wife's passing. He was a great father to his children, Michael, Dennis, and Judy. He has 6 grandkids, 8 grandchildren. Upon his retirement from the legislature, he spent his time flying the Mooney plane that he loved and teaching his grandsons how to work on cars and negotiate for used auto parts. Dick Mountjoy enjoyed his work and the people he served. He demonstrated his deep faith by remaining principled, even when it was unpopular, and by the kindness he showed to others. Even political adversaries will tell you he greeted them warmly and did not seem to hold grudges, and was known for being a man of his word. Senator Mountjoy's big heart, sense of humor, and commitment to doing the right thing will live on as a cherished part of the legacy he left here in the halls of the state capitol and in the hearts of his family and friends who knew him best.
Thank you, Senator Huff. Senator Leno, is it on this item? Oh, thank you. Senator Huff, please send Senator Mountjoy's family our deepest condolences on behalf of the Senate and the legislature. Next, we have Senator Nguyen.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Susan G. Komen breast cancer family lost a passionate and dedicated advocate when Chris Tanis from Fountain Valley passed away on Sunday evening. Chris was first diagnosed with breast cancer in 1988 and again in 2004. Chris was the first patient advocate on Komen's Scientific Advisory Board and was instrumental in the founding of Komen's Advocates in Science program. She served as Komen's Orange County President of the Board of Directors from 2009 and 2011 and was a driving force behind the founding of the Komen California Collaborative, a partnership of Komen's California affiliates dedicated to patient advocacy issues. She's helped to lead advocacy efforts both in California and internationally, participating in such events as Komen's first Global Advocate Summit, which focuses on promoting culturally relevant breast health education in other countries. She was an inspiration to many, and we would deeply miss her, and we want to ask the Senate to adjourn in her memory today. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Nguyen. Please bring her name forward so she can be properly memorialized. Senator Leno.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, privilege of the floor, and then for purpose of announcement.
Without objection.
Thank you. I would request permission to waive Joint Rule 62A in order to hear Senator Nguyen's SB 353 in today's budget hearing without sufficient notice in the daily file.
Without objection.
And then for purposes of announcement that the Committee on Budget and Fiscal Review will convene at 11:30 in room 4203.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Stone.
Thank you, Mr. President, for purposes of an adjourn in honor.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. Fellow colleagues, I was raised in Anaheim. My parents moved there in 1955. We lived 5 miles from Disneyland in homes that were called Cinderella homes. And it was mostly populated with post-World War II veterans. And it was a very close neighborhood where we got to know our neighbors. And one special family was the Rhodes family that came from North Carolina. And so today I would like to adjourn in the memory of Sybil Lee Paget Rhodes, who was 83 years old when she passed away unexpectedly on May the 6th after a brief illness in Anaheim, California. I knew Mrs. Rhodes as I was growing up in Anaheim, and her daughter Vicki and I were the same age, grew up together, went to kindergarten together. And about 1 month ago, I went back to my home neighborhood to go visit Sybil and Garland, her husband, and it was the first time she'd seen me since my election, and she says how proud that she was that I was in the state senate and that she was telling all of her friends that she changed the diaper of a state senator. Sybil's husband, Garland, served in World War II in the United States Navy, and she and Garland raised Vicki and Vicki's brother, Gary, who tragically passed away a couple of years ago. Miss Rhodes was a proud mother to both Vicki and her brother, Gary. She was a devoted wife to her husband, Garland. Today, I respectfully ask that the Senate adjourn in memory of a loving mother, a devoted wife, a wonderful friend. Mrs. Rhodes will be missed, and she will be forever remembered by the countless people that she helped inspire. And to her husband, Garland, I want to say that I'm thankful and blessed to have known Sybil, and thank you and her for all that you've done for me. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Stone. Please bring her name forward so she may be properly memorialized. Members, without objection, Joint Rule 62A will be suspended for the purpose of allowing the following Senate bills: 16, 119, 134, 251, 538, 541, 624, 670, and 680 to be heard in the Appropriations Committee without the 2 days' notice in the daily file on May 28, 2015. Members, still under motions and resolutions. Seeing and hearing anything else? If there's no other business, Senator De Leon, the desk is clear.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, colleagues. I hope you have a wonderful long weekend, a productive weekend with your family, loved ones, your constituents. It's a Memorial Day weekend. It is Friday. We will come back and convene session for 2 o'clock upcoming Tuesday. Again, to the Budget Committee, to the budget chair and to the subcommittee members, the sub-chairs on both sides, Democrats and Republicans. I want to thank you very much for your hard work. I know upon adjournment, you'll have quite a few hours to work out a framework, again, a framework of what the Senate version will be. Again, we wish you the best of luck. We thank you very much for your long hours. Again, to all colleagues, have a wonderful weekend with your family and loved ones. See you here at 2 o'clock Tuesday.
Thank you. The Senate will be in recess until 3:30, at which time the adjournment motion will be made. We will reconvene Monday at 2 p.m. Tuesday. Oh, sorry. We will reconvene Tuesday at 2 p.m.